right, gentlemen. Good morning. I guess we're good to
Hey,
go.
Manny.
Yeah,
All right. Jim, Rory, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations. I know you guys have a world premiere coming up for Mixtape. Jim, tell us a little bit about the four episode series.
Yeah, it's a show about sort of two teenagers who grown up in the working class area of Sheffield in the 1980s, and it's kind of about their sort of experience of first love and how they connect through music, as a lot of teenagers sort of do and did back then, and do now. Um, and yeah, they have this very special kind of relationship with each other and with music. And you then sort of catch up with those same two characters much later on in life, kind of 20 years down the road, and you discover that they're not together. They're both living very separate lives. One of them on Australia, and one of them in staying in the same town that you grew up in Sheffield. And you discover that they're both kind of in these quite complicated, complex, nuanced, very real sort of relationships that are maybe not sort of satisfying them, potentially. And anyway, through circumstance, one of them discovers the other one and is able to reach out through the power of Facebook and technology, and dares to send that person a song from their past. And the act of sort of sharing music with each other again unearths a whole wealth of sort of feelings and emotions and memories of their past. And so the show sort of looks into what kind of happened, and the complications that they sort of faced in order to sort of not be together, you know. So yeah, it's really about the power of music, and about sort of connecting with a lost love and sort of unresolved love, really more than anything. So it's, yeah, deeply romantic, but also set in a very, very real and very sort of earthy and quite gritty, and at times pretty tragic sort of landscape, you know.
Yeah, I'd call it really thought-provoking, especially with me. I was born in the late 80s and I find myself in a very good situation. But the thought about certain songs evoking certain memories or certain people who you thought were going to be so important in your life,
Yeah.
and then come to find out years later that they're a Facebook friend, basically doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and it was interesting. It was uncomfortable at some points, but it was also fun at others. Just because I think everybody can relate to this story. Rory, I do want to
Yeah,
ask you because
definitely.
I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is your on-screen debut, so if it is, congratulations. How has it been working on the series?
yeah, no, it was really fun. Obviously, I was pretty nervous going into it, but very quickly, everyone was so welcoming. I had a lovely Zoom with Lucy Gaffey, the director, who was actually in Australia filming with Jim. So yeah, I was a bit nervous when I knew that I'd be playing a younger Jim Sturgess. But yeah, that quickly, when I met him, it came into place. And me and Flo, who played younger Alison, we got on straight away. I remember at the chemistry reads, it felt quite obvious to me who I got on with the most. And it was just a great experience, and I'm very lucky that mixtape as my first thing because I really enjoy the story. It's something I'd watch, and it was it was a ball, man.
Jim, I want to ask you, working with Ray and how he's coming into it, and with the storyline really of a lot of looking back into your past. Any thoughts about when you were a young lad going into acting?
Yeah, it was amazing that it was Rory's first, time on a film set. You would never know, do you know what I mean? From his the way he held himself on set. Yeah, it reminded me of, like, yeah, when I was sort of at that age and having those experiences, and just how sort of visceral and exciting everything is when you're that age. And it plays the same in the show. Everything's so sort of up for grabs, isn't it? And everyone, music in particular is just so important to you at that time in your life. So it was really cool seeing Rory kind of having his first experience. I had no wisdom or anything to pass down to him, or any sort of words of advice. other than just keep doing what you're doing because it looks great and you're smashing it, you know.
No,
Um,
you said to eat more fruit on set is what I got, so I've just absolutely taken that with me.
yeah, stay off the
Inspirational.
chocolate, man. Stay off the
Yeah,
chocolate. You get a food slump.
sure.
That's about as much as I've got in the tank. Yeah, but no, it was a really special sort of shoot, and it was really lovely. You know, the team of people that surrounded it felt like a kind of family, and I was glad that it was Rory's kind of first experience. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely is a really good story to get into, especially when you guys are playing parallels off of each other. Music, of course, is a really big part of the story. Any particular songs? This question is for both of you. I guess Jim, maybe you have a little bit more than Rory. Any particular song that evokes a memory for you that stands out to you, that it just opens up, a big old can of worms in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. It's just crazy, isn't it? You know, and we've been talking about this a lot, and we've been talking about that time when you're 17, and like weirdly and beautifully, like the music that I was listening to is the same as the music that I believe Dan was sort of listening to, and it was the music that was coming out of the north of England in the late 80s, early 90s. Even though I was a sort of teenager in the 90s. I was drawn to this kind of sound that was coming out of the late 80s. So for me, there's a song called Made of Stone by the Stone Roses. When I hear the opening chords and the guitar lick of that song, it just does something to me. It just takes me straight back to a particular time in my life. We were lucky enough to get some of the Stone Roses into the show. It's the first track that you hear actually in the whole series. So yeah, when I heard that the Stone Roses were kind of opening up the whole show, I felt like right, we're in a good place, you know. But yeah, anything from those bands, it just you. And even now, like even years and years and years and years and years later, I still cite them as being my favorite band, even though I've listened to a wealth of music from them. But you, for some reason, you just go back to the band you loved when you were 17 and quote that as your favorite band. Do you know what I mean? Even though you've listened to so much music and your music taste has grown and expanded, when someone says, "Oh, who's your favorite band?" I'll just go, "Ah, the Stone Roses are my favorite band," because they were when I was 17, and that meant everything to me, you know. So it's interesting that's what you keep going back to that time, no matter what else you've been listening to.
Really quickly for you, Rory.
Yeah, no, it's tricky for me because I was 17 3 years ago. So I was listening to not. I mean, I was listening to Adele when I was 17. I was big into Adele. But I mean, when I was much younger, I'd have this little iPod and I'd listen to a lot of Take That. And that kind of stuck with me. I didn't really have a song that stuck with me from like, high school relationships as such. But
When
yeah,
you were
Take
17, like when I was 17, like the bands like informed how I looked, how I walked, how I dressed, how I thought about the world.
yeah.
You know, I can't imagine you were trying to look like Adele when you were 17.
No, but yeah,
Or
but
maybe
yeah,
you were,
that's
I
the thing. I
don't
mean,
know.
I'd listen to different people, and every single month I'd look new. I'd look
You
like,
look different,
I'd
right?
go from rock to Adele to Lady Gaga. It was all over the place, really. So it was nice to come into this and kind of look back at the kind of stuff in 80s Sheffield. So yeah, it was a bit
Oh,
random
Rory,
for
but
me.
you will. But you will. I will
Yeah.
catch you a couple years later in your career and ask you the same question, and I'm sure there's going to be a song or two in there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rory, Jim, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the series and also just talking with you guys about your experiences. So thank you for Mixtape, and I hope to catch you guys soon.
Thank
Thanks.
Thank
you,
you very
mate.
much. Thanks for your time.